Never thought I'd end up missing Mr. Thompson's monotone lectures, but at this point, I'd rather sit through 100 of his classes in a row than to spend any more time inside this forsaken place. I wonder how Mary and the others are doing. The internet has provided me with no answers as to where the hell I am. Though to be completely honest, I was doubting that I could find anything about a seemingly endless subway. So for now, I'll just keep posting little updates on Reddit, hoping that I will get at least some form of news from the outside world. With that being said, I'm glad I found Matt. He has been a lifesaver so far, at least in my case. On the way to what he called the drip, we couldn't talk much. The tall, pale figure of the conductor was still within hearing range, so we had to keep a slow pace behind it. I asked Matt why we couldn't just wait for it to be far from us, but he only said that we needed to be quick and to shut up so that he could hear. Normally, I would have retorted, but since he did admittedly save my life, I did as he said for now. Giving me a hand signal, Matt would indicate to me that he couldn't hear the whistle, meaning we could move in. Empty cart after empty cart, whistle after whistle, the occasional light flicker, moving as if we were thieves in the night, we made our way towards the drip. It felt like days have passed since I first met Matt, but my phone showed it's only been a few hours. We must have been close. Matt gave me the signal to move in, thinking the conductor has moved on. As we stood up to open the doors, both of us peered through the window. The conductor was there. The perfectly still creature was turned towards someone. It was a woman. Didn't look a day over 20. Her long, blonde hair barely hiding the terror on her face. Mouth open as if to scream, but no sound coming out of it. Her arms were grasping the handles of the chairs next to her, frozen in place. Outstretching his abnormally long arm, the many voices of the conductor asked for the woman's ticket. As I kept staring at it, Matt forcefully shoved my head below the window. "We have to do something," I told him as quietly as I could. "It's too late for that girl. The conductor is already there. Unless she has a ticket, she's gone." "What do you mean too late? Can't you just throw her a ticket like you did to me?" "Kid, you were sitting right in front of me. Not to mention it was far enough away in the cart to not notice small movements. Now, it's barely a few chairs in front of the door. Can't do anything."
"Please present your ticket for verification,"
echoed the conductor. "Do you have any more tickets? Maybe we could throw one without being noticed." "I always pack spares," he said sternly. "But if you open that door, that thing will notice us and will ask for our tickets, and right now, I only have 2 left." "Maybe next time you could pack some more." "Don't you be a smartass with me, kid. 4 tickets are normally more than enough to get to the drip and back in one piece. Not my fault 2 entirely new people just happened to get here right when the conductor was coming through. I am not going to give you the tickets."
"Present the ticket,
growled the conductor.
or you'll have to pay the fine."
I frantically looked around, trying to do something, anything. That's when I noticed a piece of paper in the corner of the cart. A ticket. I quickly grabbed it, crumpled it, opened the door slightly, and threw the ticket in before closing the door just as fast, praying I didn't get noticed. The way Matt looked at me afterwards could have burned a mark on my soul, but I didn't care. I just wanted to save that woman. There was complete silence. Not a single sound could be heard in the cart ahead when, suddenly, the conductor started whistling. We waited until we couldn't hear it anymore and entered the cart. I sincerely hoped that I saved that woman. When we entered, the cart was empty. All that was left inside was a puddle of black goo on the chair the woman was in. The ticket in front of the chair she sat on. That was reckless, stupid, and quite frankly, just about the most idiotic thing you could have done," yelled Matt. "That woman was dead." "Better than to just do nothing and have her die," I yelled back. Matt looked deep inside my eyes, rage fuming inside of him. A few seconds later, he managed to calm down, the anger being replaced with sadness. "Look," he said, his voice mellowing down. "I know why you did this, I truly do. It's just, there was no chance. You could have wasted my final tickets for the trip, and then, if it came back, we would have ended up like that." He then proceeded to point at the black puddle on the chair, slowly dripping down on the floor. He then bent over and picked up the ticket I threw at that woman. "To think," Matt said, a tinge of melancholy in his voice. "If she had woken up a cart over, she might have lived. Sometimes people are just unlucky." He then proceeded to put the ticket in his pocket. Right now, I understand why he thought that was the best thing to do. But back in that cart, witnessing somebody just vanishing like that when I could have helped, all I felt was anger at him and myself. We continued to walk in silence until we finally managed to get to the drip, the cart I woke up in. Matt took out a small bottle of water out of his hoodie pocket, placing it just where the water droplets were falling into the puddle. He sat down next to the bottle. "This is going to take a while, so make yourself comfortable." I sat down in front of Matt, trying not to cause a scene. "I can see you're still angry." "Wouldn't you be?" "Maybe when I was younger. Right now, however, the best thing we can do is survive. Keep this in mind, kid. There is only one important rule in this place. Be careful. If you're being reckless, that would be the end of you and anyone you're with." If there's a chance to help someone, I'm taking it. He just looked at me, saying nothing. I couldn't get a read on him. His face was hidden under that beard and the cap he was wearing. We sat in silence, waiting on the water droplets to fill the bottle. It was a slow process, however, little by little, the bottle was getting water. Looking up, I noticed that the water drip was coming from a pipe that ran across the cart, condensation forming and dripping down. As I was watching the bottle, Matt began to snore. He must have been really tired after everything that happened. I was too, and I would have slept a bit as well, but my mind didn't let me. Being chock full of thoughts of my family, friends, that woman, and if I'll ever get out of here. Suddenly, my mind was racing. I began to smell something odd. Up until now, the subway had that familiar smell of old plastic. However, right now there was something different. I couldn't figure it out initially, my mind still focusing on what happened. Eventually, I finally got it. Salt. The air was salty. Confused, I thought of waking Matt up. Maybe he would have had some explanation. I gently shook him. What is it, kid?" "Smell the air. It smells kind of weird." He just looked at me and inhaled deeply. As soon as he processed the smell, I saw him becoming pale. His eyes were bulging, taking quick breaths while staring at me. With his hands trembling, he grabbed the almost filled water bottle, raised from his chair, looking both to his left and his right. "Run!" he yelled back, bolting for the door we came in. I was shocked, trying to figure out what could have possibly scared that man so much after all we've been through in the last few hours. Looking in the opposite direction, the lights began to switch off row by row in the carts, turning everything to the same darkness as was outside. That was my cue to begin running. Matt was already several carts ahead, but I was younger than him. I managed to catch up to him. The darkness was gaining on us, each cart behind going dark faster than the previous one. It wasn't long until entire carts were completely without light at once. We kept running, struggling to open the doors as fast as we could. However, his leg got caught on one of the doors, tripping him. The darkness was just a few carts away. I was halfway across the cart when I noticed him lagging behind. He didn't have enough strength to pull himself free. "Go!" he shouted. "Leave me and take this with you," throwing the water bottle at my feet. I was stun-locked. I couldn't just leave him there. I couldn't have someone else on my mind. If I died, so be it. And so I ran back towards him, the darkness fast approaching, managing to get his leg out of that door and pulling him back up. He looked at me the exact same way he did when I threw that ticket. Running just a few more carts, my body couldn't function anymore. All that walking, all that sneaking, all that running, it got the best of me. I thought this was it. As I began falling unconscious, my last thoughts were of both regret and, paradoxically, satisfaction. The first thing I saw when waking up was the face of an older woman. Long gray hair was caught in a ponytail that was draped over her slouched shoulders. Her clothes were modest, a beige sweater and a pale blue long skirt, wearing a transparent vial of the same color over her head. A deeply wrinkled face began forming a smile when she saw me waking up.
"I'm glad you made it, dear."
A voice that could only be described as that of a caring grandmother came out of her.
"I was afraid you were gone from this world."
"Where am I?"
"You're safe now, child."
I tried standing up, but that woman stopped me.
"Don't worry. We will talk more after you manage to get your strength back. When you're done resting, go to the cart to the right. We would love to have a talk with you, especially Matt."
And with that, she stood up and left me alone. Having slept somewhat, I decided to write down everything that happened so that I could not forget. I had to remember everything, especially that crimson red figure I saw when I ran back to Matt.